there's been a lot of text messages about threats. Tell the jury about what you were receiving.
We were receiving so many threats on let me back up. On our new track phones, in my Facebook Messenger, there was a ton of threats. I wasn't getting text threats on my new track phone because I had my number, but my Facebook Messenger was blowing up with threats. Once I got into my email account, that was blowing up with threats. People found my realtor.com profile that I hadn't had for years and were sending me messages through that. I had people sending me screenshots of text threats they found that I didn't know about.
How were you feeling at this point?
I was feeling pretty scared.
Okay, scared of what?
Well, scared that somebody might hurt us.
Okay. At that point, did you ever go back home?
This is the first time, right?
I'm talking after you bought the track.
Oh, no, we went to the hotel in Lapeer.
Okay. So you go to the hotel in Lapeer, and then how long did you stay there?
Just one night.
Okay, so that was the night of
the 30th.
The 30th. Okay. What did you do on the 1st?
We woke up. I knew I had to make arrangements. I had a senior dog and 2 cats still at the house. I didn't know what to do with. My neighbor was sending me updates, letting me know that there was still media around my house, that my house had multiple random pizza deliveries that people were calling in. So I had to get dog food for our dog, and I met her at the actually in the church parking lot behind Red Naps that afternoon to give her the food.
Okay, and I believe that we've heard about that and saw the GPS stuff. Did you go to any banks?
Not on that day.
Okay, did you go any time that week?
Yes.
All right, why were you going to banks?
When all this unfolded and we found out that it was my son that was a shooter, I get a lot of advice from my dad. My dad's been involved in some civil suits before. He told me that there's probably going to be a lot of lawsuits, and they're going to try to take your assets. And I didn't really have any assets. The bank owned my house, the bank owned my cars, and all I had was the cash in my bank. And he said they could freeze your account. So I went and withdrew money from my account. My dad also deposited extra money in my account during that time to give to us, help us retain a lawyer, which I withdrew as well.
Okay, so you withdrew that money. Did you withdraw anything from an account that had Ethan's name on it?
We transferred money from that savings account to our account.
Okay, explain that account. I know it says Ethan's name on it. Is anyone else listed on the account?
No, it's a Simply Kids savings account through Flagstar Bank. So he opened it with $200. I don't think he really had any more than $100 left after things he wanted to buy, but I transfer money from my check into that account, so we kind of use it as a savings account too.
Okay, did you leave any money in that account?
If we did, it was very little.
Okay. So on December 1st, we heard testimony already that your son was charged. You watched online. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. We heard on the 1st, did you guys stay at the hotel in Lapeer, or did you go somewhere else?
No, we went to the extended stay in Auburn Hills.
Okay. Why is that?
Probably for the cheapest rates, and it was a decent hotel. Not any other reason why.
Okay. So how long did you end up staying at the extended stay in Auburn Hills?
We ended up staying there for 2 days.
Okay. And then we've heard testimony that charges were going to be announced at some point. Did you know when charges would be announced?
No. I was kind of following the news articles, trying to get updates. My cousin was sending me a lot of texts, saying, I think they're going to charge you too. We didn't think I would get charged. Maybe my husband, because the gun was in his name. So we had an awareness of it, but I don't think it really actually set in that it was going to happen until it did.
Okay. So we heard testimony that on December 3rd, you end up at an art studio. Explain to us what was the hotel? Extended stay in Auburn Hills.
Correct.
Okay. Tell us all where you went. How do you get from that hotel to to the art studio in Detroit and why? Give us the rundown.
So we ended up going to Owasso to get our normal cell phones. We couldn't shut down accounts.
Why couldn't you shut down accounts?
Because the two-factor authentication, so it was sending a text message to my old phone number I didn't have, so I had my employer yelling at me to shut down my LinkedIn account, my Instagram account, because I had my employer's name all over it, so we had to get our cell phones with our old numbers on it to get that back.
Were you trying to deactivate Facebook and stuff too?
I already deactivated Facebook. My husband needed to deactivate his Facebook. I had to deactivate LinkedIn and Instagram, and I couldn't get into my email on my burner phone because of that two-factor authentication code thing.
Okay, so you guys went to Owasso and got what?
We got regular cell phones with our old numbers on it.
Okay. Then what?
Then it's when Andre, my friend, called.
Is there any reason you went to Owasso to get those phones?
Yeah, we didn't feel safe in the local area.
Okay, so you drove like the hour they testified. Okay. All right, so then what?
So my friend Andre, who owns the art studio, called and was checking in to see how we were doing, and he wanted to stop by our hotel. It was the night of the 2nd. So he actually came to our hotel that night, and he invited us to come to his art studio the next day just to be around a friend, he wanted to buy us sandwiches, he wanted to show us art studio. He's just a really nice guy that was just offering a friendship during that time when we didn't know what was going on. So that's how we ended up going to the art studio.
Okay, how did you get to the art studio?
I drove.
Okay, drove what?
I drove my car, and my husband left our other car at the hotel.
Okay, so we've heard about how one car is like left at this hotel. That's because you guys went together. To
Correct.
Detroit.
Correct.
Okay. Did you know you were going to get charged at that point?
We had heard they might announce charges sometime that day.
Okay, but I want to know, did you know you were definitely being charged at that point?
Oh, no.
Okay. So tell us what happened when you got to the art studio. I think we saw him show you where to park. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Why did you park where you parked?
I was parking close to the dumpster, and he told me to move away from the dumpster because people like to throw stuff out there. So I moved. He showed me where to park, so I wasn't taking anybody's parking space or blocking the dumpster or any of that.
Okay. So then, what did you guys do that day?
He showed us around the building, and then we went to the art studio. Andre had a business meeting, I think at 11 o'clock that day, and so he left the building for a little bit. He came back after charges were announced. So he came back when we found out we were getting charged. He brought sandwiches back. At that point in time,
how were you feeling at that point when you found out you're getting charged?
just freaked out. I've never been charged anything in my life.
Okay, so you've never been charged with a crime like this?
Like this, correct.
Okay, of this magnitude?
Correct.
All right. So so you know you're charged, or you know that they want you. What was your plan at that point?
Well, I was in touch with my attorney.
Me.
You. And I was taking your advice that we're going to turn ourselves in.
When were you planning to turn yourself in?
The next day, so it would be Saturday morning.
Okay, why was that?
That's when the Novi court was doing arraignments that day.
Okay, so on Friday, the whole afternoon, you know you're being charged. That afternoon, what was your plan at that point? Or what were you doing at that point?
I was debating whether or not to go back to Auburn Hills and stay at the extended stay. And I think this is before we even knew there was a manhunt out for us.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach the witness with the defense exhibit, proposed exhibit A? The prosecution has received it.
Okay. No objection.
Do you object to submission? Nope. Okay. Thank you. Okay, A is admitted. Can you tell the jury what that document shows?
It's a Priceline.com travel itinerary, your trip from December 1st.
Okay.
Last visited 12/3/2021.
Okay. So when you're on 12/3, are there also searches for another hotel?
think so. Yeah, there's a Priceline checkout, Auburn Hills, 12/4, 12/5. So I think I was looking at for those dates.
So you were planning to, is it fair to say then you're looking for a hotel?
Objection deleting.
All right, so that exhibit, what does it tell you about your plans for 4/4 to 4/5?
To be in Auburn Hills, extended stay.
Okay. What is Priceline?
It's an app where you can get last minute hotel deals.
Do you agree these are your searches?
Yeah, I'm always on Priceline.
Okay. Ultimately, on the night of the 3rd, were you aware on Friday afternoon if you could go into court that afternoon? What was your awareness?
I was not aware that we could go into court that afternoon. I was just waiting on direction from you to what we're going to do the following day and turning ourselves in.
All right. So the prosecution showed lots of pictures of the art studio. We agree that's what it looks like, right?
Right.
Okay. Did you guys sleep on that mattress that night?
Yeah, we did. It was actually in the hallway, a common hallway the business is shared, and we pulled it into the art studio and slept on it that night.
Okay. Did you? The prosecution showed receipts and supplies that were bought, things like that. Who went to the store and did that?
My friend went to the store. We gave him a list, and he picked up things for us.
Okay. Why didn't you go to the police department? This is so distracting. I'm having a really hard time. I can move maybe and ask.
Okay, try not to talk.
Okay. So who bought those supplies?
My friend did.
Okay. Why didn't you and James just go on your own to the police department and turn yourselves in?
Because we didn't feel it'd be safe.
Okay. Why is that?
Just the fact that the entire community and Michigan knew that we were expected to turn ourselves in at the police department, so they would know where to go.
Okay. And so that night, what did you and James sleep there?
We did.
What time did you go to bed? What happened? Just really quickly.
I want to say it was after 11, maybe around 11 o'clock, when we finally went to bed. We both, I'm prescribed Xanax for anxiety, and we each took 4 because we knew we were going to be turning ourselves in the next day, and we hadn't slept in 4 days, and we just wanted to sleep.
Okay, so you each took 4.
We did.
Okay, and so the next thing, the next piece of evidence we saw was them coming into that art studio. Do you recall that?
I recall my husband screaming, and there's people with guns again in our face, officers.
What were you doing prior to hearing your husband screaming?
We were sleeping.
Okay. Were you aware there was anything going on?
No, it was not.
Okay. We saw the video, so we don't need to go through all of that. And the prosecution admitted, I'm going to put it up on the screen, People's Exhibit 150, and I just want to verify with you. I'm sorry, can you turn it on actually? Okay, do you see it on your screen?
I do.
Okay, what is that?
That's an alarm I set for the next morning.
For Saturday morning?
For Saturday morning, correct.
Okay, do you recall why you set it for 6:30, 6:45? Is there 2 alarms or 1?
Yeah, there's 2.
Okay, why did you set those alarms?
Because we were going to wake up and drive to the Novi courthouse and meet you there by 8:30.
Okay, and what was your plan there? What was going to be your plan when you got to Novi?
We were going to be arraigned.
Okay, now, there was
Everything's still
evidence.
up.
Oh, whoops. There was evidence that your purse and belongings were found in totes there. Do you remember seeing all those pictures?
I do.
Okay, tell the jury why those were your personal effects were in those bins.
I didn't know if we were going to jail. I didn't know if we were going to be bonded out. I didn't know what was going to happen. So I had told my friend where I left my purse and my backpack, where I did have pretty much all my money in it, to grab those the next day, or when he's at the studio. He's not usually there on the weekend. So I put them in the totes just for extra precaution.
In some of the messages the prosecution admitted, you say that you failed as a parent. Are you a failure as a parent?
I don't think I'm a failure as a parent, but at that time, I guess I felt bad that Ethan was sad at those things, and I guess I don't know, I just felt like I failed somewhere. I don't really know how to describe it. It's just that point in time, I just kind of felt like somewhere I failed.
Do you believe there was anything, do you believe that you knew or had reason to know your son was a danger to anyone else?
No. As a parent, you spend your whole life trying to protect your child from other dangers. You never would think you have to protect your child from harming somebody else. That's what blew my mind. That was the hardest thing I had to stomach, is that my child harmed and killed other people.
Do you believe there were things you were thinking at the time, I should do this, but I'm not doing it? Do you look back and think that?
No, I don't. I mean, of course I look back after this all happened, and I've asked myself if I would have done anything differently, and I wouldn't have.
If you could change what happened, would you?
Oh, absolutely. I wish he would have killed us instead.
Over the last 26 months, has this been stressful for you?
It's been very stressful. Yes.
Have you had a range of emotions?
I've had a lot of emotions.
Do you believe you are the victim here?
I don't want to say that I'm a victim, because I do not want to disrespect those families that truly are the victims on this. But we did lose a lot.
Okay. You've lost everything.
We did.